Hey guys, Whitney here. I am going to talk to y'all a little bit about second 6 weeks curriculum. Uh, if you have a chance, go ahead and pull up your second 6 weeks curriculum by going to your P drive under Clark Math 7th grade Unit 3. We're going to be talking about everything in here. Then another thing you should have in front of you is your detailed YAG here. And lastly, you can pull up your lead forward document over the TEKS over this detailed YAG. So you go in here to the lead forward and the IQ and pull up all of these TEKS for the second 6 weeks. Okay, so I would like to talk to y'all about the P drive. We have uploaded everything in here and organized it Math 7 Unit 3 Day 1 by the days, and this is where you can go to get everything that you will need for this unit. Another thing is our 6 weeks calendar is in here, and that is here in a PowerPoint form. And then if we look at our detail YAG and start out looking here, notice that in Unit 3 we have 4A and 4C, and then in also Unit 4 we have 4A and 4C. So we are going to hit 4A and 4C, majority of it here in Unit 4. So we're just going to be starting out with 4B in Unit 3, then jump to 4D and 4E. Okay, so if we look at our calendar, Day 1, we're going to start out with proportions. This whole entire unit uses proportions and uses proportionality. So we want to start out with a little mini review. Proportions is something they actively used in 6th grade, but it's always great to review this with our kids. Just reminding them how to cross multiply and solve. A lot of them have heard the language baseball bat and baseball. So that is something that they have used in the past that you can help access prior knowledge. So once you have reviewed that, we're going to jump into unit rates. Unit rates has some notes here, and of course all the keys are included here, and then activity for the unit rates. If we look at the unit rate TEK, it is 4B. So on 4B, the verb that's used for 4B is calculate. So the 2 times it has been tested in the past, they are actually having to get a numerical answer. So they will calculate. They do not use the word unit rate though. They use the our words per each and every. So in this example, each is used and this one is per. So we encourage them to set up a proportion and solve for these. And with our proportions just having a 1 on them. So Day 2, we are going to look at measurement conversions. Measurement conversions is something they have seen before, but they have converted within systems, not between systems. So one thing you will need to know that whenever we're converting between systems, all the systems have the conversion with them. So every single problem should tell you what the conversion is. So all of our release questions over 4E include a numerical short little sweet what you're given, then given your conversion, then ask for what the new one is. Given your information, given the conversion, and ask for what your new conversion is. So we will be using proportions to set these up and solve. Day 3, rates and ratios. Again, we are going to be using proportions to solve these. This TEK is huge, daunting a little bit. 4D is the TEK, and we will be sticking to it for almost 5 days. So if you look at the release questions, there's multiple different kinds, and it's sort of all over the place. But one thing they all have in common is this verb solve, meaning that we are going to get an actual answer. So we should have numerical answers on all of our answers for 4D. And as you see, that is the case. So Rates and ratios is our first part of 4D we're going to hit. For example, in 2018, this is a ratio problem. The key here that you see is that we're just not asking usually for one thing. It's usually making them take at least 2 steps. So this question's asking for the total number of students, and it gives you boys and girls. So of course there's a misleading answer here where it gives you just the amount of boys, which you would have to solve for, but then you have to add it back to the girls. So just know that on this TEK, not only is there's lots of pieces, but most likely it is multi-step, which is key here. A lot of times in 6th grade we are doing one-step type of answers, and in 7th grade you have to tell your kids if you have only done one math operation, most likely you are not done. And so there is usually multiple operations. So then there's an activity, and some of the activities have some things crossed out because they're just not aligned. We usually don't see the ratios in this format here, we have seen. So our next day 4, percent proportions. They come to us knowing some about percent. Last year was the first year it is in the TEKS. So there might be some small gaps, hopefully. What we will want to use is this proportion, percent over 100 equals part over whole, and we're going to be consistent on that. The biggest thing we see when it comes to percentages is, again, it's multi-step. So for example, this question from 2018, it gives you a percentage of pennies here, a percentage of pennies here, and it asks for how many pennies were in this other one. So they're going to have to find out what the missing percentage is and then solve. So multi-step. All right, the Friday we're going to do a mixed review quiz. It's only 8 questions, so if you find something else you would like to add in here for a mixed review, of course, add it in. There are some bonus pieces because these questions are a little bit harder, and we are encouraging, of course, to show their work in, put their proportion and solution. All right, percent application is our next day 6 of this unit. This is starting to jump into the real world application of percent. They see a lot of tax, all of these vocabulary words here. One that is not included that I encourage you to add in that they sometimes have a hard time with is the word commission. So lots of words here that might be new to them but shouldn't be, but commission is one that you probably need to add in. Then there also is an activity. These are open-ended questions, so anything that you can want to add here is okay. A lot of what we're doing this unit is a lot of open-ended. Understand that yes, we want them to get an answer, but sometimes we want to have answers to choose from. So anything you can add in here that is more star-like would be great to add. All right, our last instructional day of this unit is talking about percent increase and percent decrease. Percent change is a lot of times another way they say it. This one is different because you just don't get to plug in numbers to your proportion. You're going to have to do some math prior to that. For example, this question here, we notice that there's a lot of misconceptions with students that choose to put 45 over 60, and that is not how this part of this TEK works. You would need to do change over original. So change meaning we need to do some kind of subtraction first, then put the original value here, and then find our percent over 100. We want to, again, continue on this trend of putting everything in a proportion. So lots of information here for them to help understand change over original and working out this. So Unit 3 then concludes with a review that Ms. Hensley is working, and then it will be updated into the P drive as soon as possible, and a test that I am currently working on that will mirror a lot like these release questions that you will see here on the Lead Forward document. The last day of this week here is MSTAR. Now, you don't have to do it exactly on that day. You just need to have it done prior to October 11th. You will need to go in and assign your students MSTAR, and that is in the class link, and I will send an email to show you how to do that. So if you need to shift some things around to get MSTAR done, you can. Another thing I would suggest you do on this day that we are planning to do MSTAR is a graphing coordinates activity. We have a fun Halloween one down here in October, but at the end of October, but if you could put something in on that day that would help your kids get ready for Unit 4, where we do a lot of graphing. And sometimes it seems like there's a little bit of confusion to remembering, where we plot X and Y. So anything there to help review that from 6th grade would be great. Okay, so that almost concludes Unit 3. I want to show y'all this folder right here, Extra Credit or Early Finisher Task Cards. If you look under here, there are MathLibs task cards, all different kinds of things that go with just Unit 3 that you could post around your room. Some teachers use this for early finishers. Some teachers use this as extra credit, but they are all great quality questions that you can use to help get in that more practice that our students need. So that is there, and for you to use extra resources, of course, plenty of them in here to help if you need to use them for any reason also. So we're going to look and move forward to Unit 4. Unit 4 is still in the making, and right now currently the previous year's test is uploaded in here, and it might need some updating. So it's not set in stone, but it looks pretty decent. We'll see if we need to update it. Unit 4 continues on with proportionality, and I will talk about Unit 4 more in my next video.